Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into the life of Li Bai, often called China's most romantic, free-spirited poet. His story is crazier than any novel and juicier than a TV drama. He had plenty of hilarious moments, but also led a life filled with deep insights into poetry and the art of living. Legend says Li Bai might have been more than just a regular human. One story claims his mom had a dream about a giant dragon flying skyward before she got pregnant, prompting rumors he was a child of the dragon. Another story goes even further, saying he was sent by the star god Tai Bai Jinxing, tasked with bringing fun and elegance to the world through poetry and wine. No wonder he wandered around like a carefree immortal. While other kids struggled with their ABCs, or Chinese characters in his case, Li Bai was off forging his own path. By 5, he could already read. By 10, he was practicing swordplay. By 15, he'd studied works like Laozi and Xuanzong. One time, he was hauling water with a bucket in one hand and a sword in the other, still chanting poetry as if it were no big deal. When asked why he worked so hard, he boldly declared he'd become a hero and write poems that shook the nation. Talk about ambition! Instead of stressing over imperial exams, Li Bai wanted to be a wandering swordsman poet. Reality didn't exactly roll out the red carpet, though. After drifting for years, he realized the martial underworld wasn't hiring. But he didn't sweat it. He basically said, "I'll flirt with lovely ladies through poetry and take down baddies with my sword." The adventure continues. If anyone knew how to turn sipping wine into an art form, it was Li Bai. Every time he drank, he seemed to switch on his Poet Immortal mode, tossing out verses that became instant classics. Drunken dreaming. One tale says he got so tipsy, he pointed at the sky and shouted, "Look, there's a giant whale up there." Everyone else was baffled, but Li Bai insisted he could see cosmic secrets whenever he was drunk. 300 cups. Another time, mid-party, he raised his cup and declared, "Bring out the good stuff, life's too short to hold back." People wondered if he ever truly got drunk, realizing he only inebriated his poems, not himself. Believe it or not, Li Bai once held a government job. Emperor Xuanzong, impressed by his talent, invited him to the palace as a poetry consultant. But palace life bored him. He missed the buzz of the streets. He still managed to dazzle the emperor and young Guifei with 3 stunning poems called Qing Ping Diao. One verse famously compared young Guifei's beauty to blossoming clouds. Despite wowing everyone, Li Bai felt trapped. One drunken day, he quit with a flourish, "I'm off to find freedom." Li Bai hung out with some heavy hitters. Du Fu, a devoted fan who called Li Bai the Poet Immortal and wrote about him in 8 Immortals of the Wine Cup. Gao Shi, a drinking buddy who often egged Li Bai on with grand promises that they'd both be legends. Wang Luan, the ultimate clickbait friend, who lured Li Bai to visit with tales of acres of peach blossoms, which turned out to be just a tiny orchard. Li Bai laughed it off though, impressed by Wang's marketing skills. The most famous story about Li Bai's death is that he got so drunk on a boat one night, he jumped into the water trying to catch the moon's reflection, never to be seen again. True or not, it adds to his legendary charm. Think of it as the ancient version of drunk hallucinations, proving once again no one outromanced Li Bai. Want to see his genius up close? Here are a few gems. "I laugh and stride out the door. Who says I'm just a weed? Makes you want to quit your job and travel, right? Heaven gave me my talents, they'll find their worth. When money's gone, it'll come back again." Pure optimism. Try cutting water with a blade, it still runs. Raise a cup to drown your sorrows, they only grow. Reminding us wine can't solve every problem, but poetry might. Li Bai believed in a special harmony between heaven and earth, so he often wandered off into mountains and rivers to soak in inspiration. He gazed at the sky as if it led to an immortal paradise, and he once napped in a peach orchard, praising friendship over blossoming petals. From festivals like the Dragon Boat Fest to the Mid-Autumn Moon Fest, you'll hear Li Bai's poems echoing across China. Schools recite his work, theaters celebrate it. His bold spirit has inspired countless generations to dream big and go for it. His poems have been translated into many languages, mesmerizing readers around the globe. One scholar said reading Bring in the Wine is like sharing a drink with a poet from 1,000 years ago. Researchers still study his free-flowed style today because it's influenced so much of what came after. Swords, wine, romance, and poetry. Li Bai wrapped them all into a bold, adventurous life. He roamed far and wide, leaving behind timeless verses. Even in his later years, he stayed true to himself, laughing at the sky and refusing to be ordinary. His story reminds us to live life on our own terms. Li Bai's extraordinary life teaches us one thing: be brave enough to live authentically. If you enjoyed today's tale, remember to like, comment, and share this video. Stick around for our next journey back in time, where we'll uncover more captivating figures and their poetic legacies. Stay tuned.
The clouds think of her rose, the flowers her grace. Spring breezes brush the railings, the dewdrops shine in place. If not seen atop Jade Mountain high, then surely beneath the moon of heaven's terrace night. A single red blossom, rich with dew and scent, like misty rain on Wu Mountain, longing unspent. May I ask who in Han's palace compares? Only fair Feian in new makeup, so rare. A famed flower